Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to the coffee chat brought to you by the SA Properties Investors Network. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on again. And as always, we give you unfilled information from industry experts in the property space. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. And also welcome. If you don't know who we are the SA Properties Investors Network. And we do something that's very distinct and very clear. We help like-minded individuals connect and network. So we'll either help you start your property portfolio or expand it. And we do that through various means. So please just let me know where you are watching us from. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is very interactive. It's not just me talking with my lovely face. I need you guys to talk to me, to ask questions and actually interact. And that's why we bring this show to you every second Tuesday, every second week for Monday. Woo! Let me get confused. Alrighty then, so just let me know where you are watching me from so I can just see all over the world. Where are you guys chatting me from? So let's see. I see you guys still getting that in. However, in the meantime, I'm going to be talking about our events because we have a jam-packed event list. Okay, May is upon us. It's so interesting, guys. We're literally 4 months in the year. We blinked, it was New Year. We're going to blink, it's going to be winter. We're going to blink, it's going to be spring. And then we're going to blink again, it's going to be December. They say the days are long, but the years are short. So you got to get started and you have to take massive action. So on the 23rd, we are going to be having a webinar for diversifying into the UK property market. So for those of you who want or are interested in investing offshore, in investing in other continents and other markets in the property space, we are going to be having a webinar about diversifying your portfolio. Okay, and actually having little eggs all over the world, and especially in the UK. That's going to be happening on the 23rd. All of this, by the way, is on the chat box. So you can actually find the link to our website in the chat box, so you can check it out there. On the 25th, we're going to be having a free 1-hour property investment webinar. Yes, you heard right. Free, just for free. All you need to do is register, and then that will be happening on the 25th. On the 30th of May is the mastermind, and this is only for professional members. So for those of you who are professional or are foundational intermediate, you might want to upgrade to professional so you can get the mastermind. Then on the 2nd of May, we are part and parcel of the webinar for training on the fundamental course and doing your due diligence. This is for the SAPIN Youth. Yes, we have a new division called SAPIN Youth, in as much as we have one with SAPIN Women. So that's going to be happening on the 2nd May. We also have a content webinar on how a coach can help you grow your property portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, we know this and we understand it. Okay, we all fundamentally understand that a coach is necessary in all spheres of life. Okay, be it soccer, be it athletes, be it business, anything. You want to find somebody who is an expert at the thing that you want to do and can do it well, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be happening on the 2nd of May. Then on the 3rd of May, we are going to be having a Johannesburg breakfast exclusive for members and coaching students with 5 or more properties. This is for the individuals who want to scale their property portfolios. Okay, so you want to register for that, and that's on the 3rd of May. On the 4th and the 5th of May, we're going to be having our property investing workshop. That's 2 full days. I think we might still have a few, very few tickets. So you can just check that out. The link is in the chat box. After that, we're going to be having the ABSA Youth Program on the 15th of May, where we are announcing all of our youth members and youth students. On the 16th of May, we're going to Cape Town. Yes, the mother city. We're going to be seeing you there. And the event is going to be called Elevate Your Property Portfolio, Mastering Airbnb, student accommodation, and prop tech investments. Whoa, that is a mouthful, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, we're going to be in Cape Town. So if you are one of our members in Cape Town or you want to join the SA Properties Investors Network, please check us out on the 16th of May. We're going to be in the mother city. Okay, and then on 17th, we're going to be doing Investor of the Year judging. I know all of you have been entering, and I need more entrants because you never know, you might actually qualify to be the Investor of the Year 2024. We're going to be having judgings in Cape Town on the 17th of May. Then on the 23rd of May, we're going to be having a networking event for coaching students and in IOTY winners showcasing their deals. And this is also finalists who are showcasing their deals. So on the 25th and the 26th of May, we're also going to be having another 2-day workshop because we want to inform you guys. Yeah, there's a lot of events happening. And then lastly, on the 7th of June, we're going to be having a Young Professionals event celebrating Youth Month. 15th of June, we're also going to be having another Young Professionals event. And then on the 7th of July, it is Women's Day. On the 16th to 18th, we're going to be having the affiliate event for Reside Conference. For those of you who don't know, Reside is going to be having a conference at the Sandton Convention Center, so get your tickets. And lastly, we're going to be having our annual Women's Day event, and that's happening on the 17th of August. And as you all know, on the 14th of September, it's the biggest and most exclusive event in the property space, and that's the Investor of the Year Award happening on the 14th of September. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, yes, that's the event that we're going to be doing. But if you didn't hear anything that I said, please go on to the chat box. You'll find the link in the chat box. So today, I see Uratile. Arabide is saying she's watching from Mabubani. That's awesome. Today we're going to be talking about automation as a landlord, right? This is something that people are going into. We're in the era of AI. We're very digitized, if that's a word, as people. So we're going to be talking about automation as a landlord. Gone are the days where you have to knock on somebody's door and ask for money. Gone are the days where you have to physically go somewhere to do a viewing. A lot of people have actual video recordings of the property, so you can actually have a digital viewing. So we're going to be talking to an automation expert. This gentleman is the founder and CEO of Preferential, one of the few management agencies that offer you, okay, and I need you to listen properly, up to 4 months rental insurance, and they will also handle the evictions. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a cha-ching if I've ever heard of it. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ross Fitzcharles. Hello, sir.
Hey, Khali. Thanks for hosting me today.
Sorry, fantastic.
I'm with a flu, so if I do sound like Donald Duck.
It's good because you're not in studio, so that means you can't give it to me. So I'm fine. I just feel bad for the people in the office with you. So Ross, as an industry leader in automation, right? You are the guy that's pioneering automation for landlords, who's pioneering, just people understanding that automation can be your friend. I know people very much are afraid of AI and are afraid of moving away from the standard paper and pen way. And you are the guy that's leading this path with Preferential, doing amazing things. So as we get started, because we always have pre-questions that we ask from our viewers, can you just quickly tell me a little bit about Preferential?
Thanks, Khali. We started Preferential in 2017, and the aim was to help landlords effectively manage their properties through using technology. Creating economies of scale, which ineffectively basically creates savings that we pass on to our landlords. So typically our landlords save up to 75% than what they would with a typical estate agent. But with that, they get access to our Preferential Promise, which guarantees them firstly with guaranteed rent. So we pay their rent up front. We collect from the tenants, and if they default, we cover them for up to 4 months. We protect landlords against property damages, and then we deal with and pay for the entire eviction service. So it's all around creating peace of mind. And then our long-term goal with Preferential is to help landlords build generational wealth.
Fantastic. That is phenomenal. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions not even if, I know you have questions for us, please put them in the chat box and I'll make sure that you guys have a chance to speak to the CEO of Preferential. However, Ross, let's get started in terms of, automation. Like you said, you're using technology to literally trailblaze the property management space because it's always been a certain way for so long and we needed a changer in the game. So I think one of the things that people want to know is what aspects of property management can be automated.
Khali, I think in today's world where, over the last 4 years, there's probably been about $70 billion globally invested in PropTech. The aim with that is automation. So people nowadays don't have time to manage their properties, and technology is helping us just making it simpler. So from a landlord's perspective, almost every aspect of managing your tenant or your portfolio can be automated right through from listing your property and managing your leads to signing a digital lease agreement, having invoice reminders go out to tenants. You can send letters of demand through certain platforms. So it's really there to help landlords effectively manage their properties, but also having more time and giving them the flexibility to have more time, but also to scale their portfolios.
I think it's really interesting that you just said even something like signing a digital lease is now part and parcel of automation, because I think a lot of people weren't aware that digital leases are still legally binding documents.
Yeah, I think pre-COVID, when we launched in 2017, one of the fundamental questions is how do you make it easier for landlords to manage their properties? And digital leases were just one of the first things that sort of just showed us that buys time for landlords. This was pre-COVID, and I think COVID came along and showed everybody that having these online calls is now a new addition to our lives. Having virtual meetings just makes it simpler. You don't need to sit in traffic. And same with lease agreements. Landlords can sit anywhere in the world in a business trip and now complete a lease agreement with their tenant. And we've seen all of our leases with preferential is digital. So we've seen landlords outside the country and the evictions being dealt with these digital leases. And it's effective. The only contract within property that I believe can't be signed is when you actually purchase a property. So within the rental space, you do capture the IP address where the tenant is signing from. You can capture time when they've signed, when they viewed. You can see any comments on changes. So it really makes it simpler to get that lease signed, and you've got access to all the comments, the history on that, when it was signed, and all of that is sort of packaged and required when you do the eviction. And your general digital lease agreement or digital signature solutions provides the required information that you need in order to show who signed when and what comments were made, etc.
Okay, that's actually quite interesting. So this is another one that I think a lot of people are always interested in, is that how does automated tenant screening work? Because we're used to you have to physically go with your ID and all of these things. So how does that work?
Yeah, we working in preferential. We obviously currently doing tenant vetting for landlords, and I think one of the biggest issues is the paperwork within that. So firstly, you need a tenant to apply for property, and what you'll see in the industry is a application form going out. They need to print this, complete it manually, then email it back. And then once you've got that, you can start going on to tools like TPN to run the credit reports, etc. And within preferential, we basically do all that for landlords. So it's a digital form that goes out to the tenant, nice and convenient. They can fill it in anywhere during the day. That automatically comes into our system. And because of the integrations, you can actually go and look at the willingness and the ability of tenants to pay their previous rent and their other accounts. And I think those are the two major components from a landlord's perspective to understand. But then there's also verifying whether the person with the ID number did go and open up the bank account, whether the person has any fraud or any criminal activities against their names, and then also looking at how did they pay the historical rates. All of these are information points that could be extracted from systems like the TPN system, where you can run a report and get access to all of this. Where I think previously you went a lot on gut feeling, and you looked at we have a lot of landlords, even my folks did the same thing before I started preferential. They just looked at the bank statement, the pay slips. I like the guy, he looks like a person. And then that guy got the property. And I think tools like TPN and preferential, with how we integrate it with the credit bureau, just makes that entire process just so much simpler from a landlord's perspective. And then you've got applicants. You can understand their risk level, and based on that, you can make an informed decision. Now you've met the person in person. You can see there's some gut feeling stuff that you can pick up, whether this might be a problematic tenant. I mean, we've had a landlord before where a tenant rocked up for a viewing and he had a black label coat in his hand as he was walking in. So those are the type of things that from a gut feeling, you can probably know that this person might be a problem tenant, but then backing that screening up with automation through like preferential or TPN, where you can get the deeper insights in terms of tenants' willingness and ability to pay their rent.
Speaking of ability to pay their rent, now we're going on to collections, right, from shiesty tenants. And this one is, yes, obviously, right now people are a little bit more advanced. It's no longer like knocking on a door to collect money. They can just deposit it, but also that's a process in of itself, right? And you having to remind the person or check the person. So I think, this is a very interesting question, which is, can rent collection and the payment process be automated?
Definitely. In today's world, you can get access to Sage or Zero, where you can create your invoices, and within that, you can link up any like a PayFast account, or you can link up a SnapScan code for the tenant to pay. I think South Africa is still behind compared to the rest of the world if you're looking at fees that these payment portals are charging for the collection. So a typical fee for tenants paying their rent could be like 3%, and that's through your PayFast, that's through your OZO payments, and these are things you can activate, but there's a relative cost involved with that. And then you've got platforms like PayProp, where you can actually go and create add your properties. They send out through their system. You can send out invoices, and there's a link where they can actually select to pay. A lot of these platforms come with the additional cost that obviously takes away your from your yield or your return on investment. It makes your time to profitability just longer, but it's definitely tools that help you automate that. And then the flip side, you can use your own Zero account. Creating an account with Zero, you can connect that with your bank account. And like I said, you can add the PayFast functionality there. And then that just means when your tenant gets the invoice, they can click on a button to make the payment. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. The fact that it can be that simple, where you don't have to go to a bank or anything like that. You can literally just do an EFT right there and then. I see there's already questions in the chat box, guys. Please put all your questions in the chat box. This is another one that I personally think it's something that hasn't necessarily been talked enough about, and that is, what are the benefits of automated maintenance management? Because we all know, as former tenants and all of that, maintenance is a huge issue, right? You will literally say something broke or burst, and like a maintenance person will come 2 weeks later or a month later, and the whole time, like this problem isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, look, again, the world has changed so much that now you can actually request a maintenance service provider through a platform. We partnered with Home Plus, and they just make it so much simpler to manage your property. You get tools like Red Rabbit that allows you to track maintenance, but you're still sort of involved with that in terms of finding your own service provider. And the partner we've got on in Home Plus, it's just efficient. Like, you can request a service provider to go out. Within 2 hours, they technically confirm the appointment date, which is maybe not that same day, maybe the next day. They will send someone out to an obligation-free quote, and then only on accepting that, you as a landlord get to pay that. So the benefits in terms of having maintenance automation is there's obviously efficiency in that. So your tenant can get a link through Home Plus where they can click on that. They can request a certain maintenance job to be done. They will select whether they are going to pay or the landlord needs to pay for this. And then the landlord first needs to obviously approve that. But within that, the landlord gets updates during the process. And gone are the days of actually going on Google and trying to find a service provider, like a plumber, to come out to your property. And then effectively you need to get 3 different quotes. You don't know if this guy's overcharging you. And that's what a partner like Home Plus actually does. It provides that transparency. They've got workmanship guarantee linked to that. So it's around taking the risk away from landlords. It also helps landlords with record keeping. So if you've got a portfolio of 5 properties, you can keep record in terms of what properties is actually needing a lot of TLC in the process of a tenant being there. And then it's around cost management as well. So your time in itself is a lot of, sorry, I just need to cough here. Everyone's time is worth something. And if you can just save on that time and get a service provider to go out, it just makes your life so much simpler.
Okay. And so, Ross, before we get to the questions in the chat box, I see there's quite a few. This one is actually very, very important, which is, how can communication with tenants be automated? Because obviously, if I have like you don't really want your tenants to have your WhatsApp number. They're gonna bother you about frivolous things, but then like how else can you have like a proper chain of conversation, or an automated way where like communication with tenants can be automated?
Look, I think if you look at automation for tenant communication, your most important is probably the rental invoice that needs to be sent out. So it's keeping tenants accountable to paying that invoice, and tools like Zero actually help you to build automated rules within that. So you physically create a recurring invoice, which is triggered every month on, let's say, the 23rd of the month. And then you can say the day before, the day on, or the day after the first needs to send a follow-up reminder if the invoice is not settled yet. And then around the 5th and the 15th, you can automatically follow up on that again. So I think that's probably your most important communication to your tenant. And then with tools like Home Plus, where tenants can actually log certain maintenance requests, that just makes it easier for you as a landlord not to have WhatsApp to communicate with a tenant, but rather have the system where you get in-app notifications on that. Yeah, and I think as a landlord, typically you've got incoming your welcome back to your tenants. You've got an exit instructions. If there's any changes or events happening in the area that they need to be aware of. So landlords can have those communications set up and emailed through a tool called MailChimp, which just makes it easy because you can see whether the tenant actually opened up the mail, when they've read the mail. So you've got all that information on that. And you can also schedule certain emails to go out through that. But I must say, WhatsApp is a very convenient channel, and a lot of prefer WhatsApp. And with WhatsApp, you can also set up admin-only sort of communication. So if you've got a portfolio, let's say you've got a multi-let with a few tenants on the property, you can set up a WhatsApp channel with admin-only, where any events or power or water outages within the area can be communicated with your tenants through setting up one group and then sending that out to the tenants. So yeah, and then within that, you can also open up, you can see which tenants actually viewed the message. And if someone's haven't read it within a few days, you can send that again, or you can send it individually. So nowadays there's so much more tools that you can use as a landlord, instead of having to pick up the phone to have conversations with the tenant, or actually drive through to the property to hand them these paper documents indicating what's wrong in the area, etc.
So we're going to the questions on the chat box, and Samkelo says, I think this question might have been answered, but could you just clarify, how do you ensure security and compliance standards are met through automation process? Remember when we were talking about the legalities of digital leases. So how do you make sure that you're still in compliance even though you're automated?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of popular stuff, GDPR. So using tools that actually supports like GDPR, and making sure that you comply, or using tools that comply with that. So there's a difference between storing your customer information in the States versus in the UK, and there's certain global rules that have been set up. So when you do use a digital lease agreement, you can actually select where your data needs to be stored. So from a compliance point of view, then I think using TPN lease agreements is also valuable. It ensures that you comply with most of the topics that's being dealt with from a property management perspective. And they also update that on an annual basis. Yeah, and then having tools like MailChimp, sending out communication, you can actually set up a contact base already, and then you create one communication and can actually send it out to the individuals. And should they unsubscribe, and that allows you as a landlord to then, the system keeps track of that. And at the point of sending out, if you still send to all 5, if one of them have unsubscribed, then they're not going to get that. And you do have access to see which tenant actually unsubscribed to that communication. I hope that answers.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah. And also they just want to know, because you were talking about rental insurance, and I think that's one of the key things in this current property market. So they just want to know, what is your fee structure for your services?
Yeah, look, we've got various packages. We've got a flat fee of 125 Rand a month, and then you can take our basic package. That's where we just manage the property by sending invoices. collecting, paying out when the tenant has paid, sending out letters of demand, and having access to our general system where you can advertise, manage your leads. And that's the first package. So it's 125 plus 1.5% of the rental every month. And then your legal package is a package that actually includes the eviction services. So that's also 125 admin fee, and then you get charged 2.25% of the monthly rental. Our standard package is where your guaranteed rent kicks in. So we guarantee your rental payments on the 5th of the month. We cover you for up to 2 months of default, property damage, and eviction. And that's 125 Rand per month admin fee and 2.75% of the rental. And the premium is exactly the same, 125, but 4.2% of the rental. But what comes with that is guaranteed rent on the 1st. We cover you for 4 consecutive months of default, eviction cover, and we deal with the process as well, and then you protect it against damages. We do have an activation fee of 1,200, which we charge as a placement fee that covers a lot of the screening, and the tech that we're using to operate in terms of the placement. And then there's an activation fee of 350. So getting a tenant on board, there's a monthly cost, but there's a once-off charge of 1,200 plus 350, which just, if you look at that, it's 1,550 Rand for placement services. If you basically just match apples with apples. So a typical estate agent on a 10,000 Rand rental would charge you 10,000 placement fee. And with preferential, like I said, creating economies of scale, which effectively creates savings, we charge 1,550 instead of the 10,000, and that's for placing your tenant through preferential.
Okay, that you said a lot of numbers. The only thing that I understood is that preferential is very affordable because you had me at 4.2%. So you have another question from Jerry Skosana. He says, "Hi, is insurance paid per property or landlord?" And I think it means if I, as Khali, have, let's say, 4 properties, are all 4 properties insured under me, or each property is its own individual, like 4.2%?
Yeah, look, the way that we structured the insurance is to be property specific. So if you're a landlord and you've got 4 properties, each of those properties would be individual accounts, or let's call it leases that you'll pay for. And the reason for that is we're linking the pricing with a specific lease, because when it comes to eviction, we need to know which of those tenants are actually going to be evicted. So your lease agreement will be signed between the landlord and the tenant. And then there's a mandate that you sign with preferential, because all 4 of your properties might not be covered under the premium package. We first launched preferential with a single package, and that covered any type of risk. And obviously we did tenant vetting, so we tried to get the lowest risk for landlords. And as we sort of morphed into a longer standing business, we realized there's a need for landlords with slightly higher risk tenants, where they might not get as many leads as someone in Sandton, and now their property is getting less leads and higher risk type of tenants. Landlords, that we launched the standard and the legal package as well. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Oh wow, Ross, I have learned so much from you. It's been phenomenal. So in terms of parting words with our viewers, do you have anything to say to our viewers regarding automation as a landlord?
Yeah, look, I'd say that we're living in a world where things are changing a lot. And something I would encourage the viewers to play around with ChatGPT. So if you just go to Google and you put in chat.openai.com, you get access to ChatGPT, and you can do so much in that. You can actually upload your existing lease agreement and ask ChatGPT to give you some advice in terms of that. You can upload your tenant has a difficult question or is challenging on you on something that you know doesn't sound right. You can actually go on ChatGPT, upload your lease agreement, update the Rental Housing Act, and you can update the what's it called, the CPA, Consumer Protection Act. You can upload all 3 documents and say, okay, my tenant asked me this. You can paste the question in ChatGPT, and it literally runs through the documents and gives you I wouldn't say 100% trust the legal on that, because it's not a legal expert, but it gives you sort of an outline and a thinking framework, taking those 3 documents into consideration. So I'd say within a world where there's so much change going on and we're moving forward in technology, we need to try testing and playing around with these technology. You can't break anything. So uploading the documents and just asking like really cool questions around the lease agreement and the Rentalizing Act, you can build your own knowledge. And through that, you can also answer very difficult questions from tenants. So yeah, I'd say keep an open mind and keep on exploring. You can't break anything, so just deep dive into the technology we've got.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for that advice and that little nugget regarding assistance via technology and that. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. If you want any information from Ross or you want to contact Ross, the link is in the description on SAPIN Connect, and we'll definitely make sure you get into contact with Ross Fitzcharles, ladies and gentlemen, CEO and founder of Preferential. Thank you so much, Ross.
Awesome. Thanks, Khali. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Okay, and as we come to an end, I'm just going to give you another quick update regarding our events that are going to be happening. So note these in your calendars and your diaries. If you want more information, please just go to our website. It is on the chat box. So on the 23rd, we are going to be having Diversifying into the UK Property. Yes, it is a free webinar for diversifying your portfolio. 25th, we're going to be having a free property investment webinar. The 30th, we're having a mastermind online property discussion, but unfortunately that's for members only and it's for specifically professional members. 2nd of May, we're having a webinar for youth. And then on the 3rd of May, we're having an exclusive members and coaching students breakfast with 5 or more properties. So if you are part of the SAPIN family and you have 5 or more properties, please just take that out. On the 4th and 5th of May, we're going to be having a 2-day property investing workshop. 15th of May, we're having the APSA Youth Program. It's going to be phenomenal. On the 16th of May, Cape Town, we are coming to see you. Yes, the mother city. We're going to be talking about elevate your property portfolio, mastering Airbnb, student accommodation, and prop tech investment. Look at me saying that all at once. Okay, 17th of May, it is Cape Town Investor of the Year judging. Then on the 23rd, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a networking event where we're going to be having SAPIN coaching students and ROTY winners and past finalists showcasing their deals. Then we're going to be having a 2-day workshop on the 25th and 26th of May. And then on the 7th of June, we are having our Youth Day event, as well as the 15th of June, celebrating Youth Month. Then on the 17th of July, we're going to be having a SAPIN Women event. So ladies, please put those in your diary. On the 16th to the 18th, we're going to be having an affiliate event with Reside, and they're going to be at the Sandton Convention Center. So I cannot wait to see you guys there. Then, of course, on the 17th, we're having our annual SAPIN Women event for Women's Day, celebrating Women's Month. And as always, we close it off on the 14th of September with the most exclusive event of the property space, and that is Investor of the Year Award. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I will see you